Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how I was scammed. Yes, you heard me right. I was scammed. Now, a client reached out to me from an African country because of the code of brotherhood. I'm not going to snitch on this African country, but it was very annoying. And the most annoying thing is that it was for a burial ceremony. The flyer, he reached out to me to design a flyer for a burial ceremony, and we negotiated. We talked about the project, we agreed on an amount, but I was still quite early in my design journey, and it was that point where being contacted by someone outside my country was it's something interesting for a graphic designer, if you know what I mean. So he reached out to me and we were talking, we negotiated, as I said, and I went on with the design, which was a mistake I made. I should have asked that I get some sort of payment, maybe a part payment or a full payment, before I commence the design. I think one other thing that held me back was because it was for a burial ceremony, so I felt a certain way. So I went on with the project, and when I was done, I sent the project to him, and I think we had some slight error to correct, and I did that and I sent it to him, and I think he asked for me to send my details, which I did. And at first he was saying that he was having issues transferring the money to my country, but then eventually he stopped responding to me. I could not hear from him. I reached out constantly, but no response, no feedback, right? And that's it. That's how I was scammed. And it led me to, that thing happened a long time ago, but it led me to do this video for some persons for some designers who are still not, who may have, or who have experienced, or who are finding it difficult to get paid before commencing their job. This is why you should do that, because it is very important, to avoid being scammed, to avoid situations like this, to avoid wasting your time, right? So it is very important when you're commencing before commencing a project, the client reaches out to you that they want to do a design, especially when it's a new client. You guys agree on everything. You tell them, that before commencing the job, I accept part payment or a full payment, right? Or some different sort of arrangement. You could say, okay, you pay 50% of the agreed amount for me to commence the job, and then when the job is commenced, you pay the balance 50%. It works that way. It is very important, because when you even do this, the client has sort of an assurance that, okay, you know what you're doing, you are capable of executing this project, and they trust you. Some clients would even go ahead to pay the full amount. People who have the money, people who understand its value, they'll pay the full amount, and others will pay part payment. And then, as I said in a video I posted a way back, I also said that it's important when you are taking to keep clients, right? When you've asked for a payment, the person has paid you, it is only sensible for you to now deliver on the agreed time. And then, as I also said in that video, if you're going to have challenges delivering that project as agreed, you have to communicate this to the client as soon as you possibly can, and not the day you're supposed to deliver. You understand? You have to communicate this ahead of time to the client, so you guys can reach a different arrangement, right? So I hope this helps somebody, because designers are being scammed. So you have to avoid this. You want to ask for payment before commencing your design. It is very important. Even if you're a new designer, except you're volunteering, except you're deciding not to, except maybe you have a really good relationship with this person and you just don't want to, other than that, or maybe it's a retainership, retainer, right? Other than that, you should ask for a payment. It is very important to avoid wasting your time, to avoid being scammed, because when you sometimes, even aside being scammed, you start being posted, the client can even come and tell you that, oh, we no longer want to go ahead with the design, we no longer want to do this project, or we no longer have money to fund this project, and then you've wasted your time. And some people don't even understand the idea of quantum merit in law. That's a Latin term in law, and it means compensation for work done. People don't even understand that you've done something, you've done a work, you should be compensated for that work in which you have done, in which you have carried out. People don't understand this. Not everybody understands this and applies this. You understand? So you want to avoid these situations. You understand? And then another thing, as I said, they could decide to cancel the event. But if you had charged them, they would really think twice before taking that step. So I hope this helps somebody out there. See you in the next one. And don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe. Thank you.